Hello students, today we are going to study the remaining part of the chapter 3. The chapter name is Fiber to Fabric, class 7 subject science. In the previous video we had seen this that wool and silk are animal fibers. Then after we had seen wool is obtained from the hair of sheep, goat, yak and camel. Some breeds of sheep possesses only fine soft underhair close to the skin, and the process of selecting parent for obtaining special characteristics in their offsprings possessing soft hair is termed as selective breeding. Then we had seen yak wool is commonly found in Tibet and Ladakh. Angora wool is obtained from Angora goats found in hilly regions such as Jammu and Kashmir. Then we had seen the underfur of Kashmiri goat is soft and used to prepare pashmina shawls. Llama and alpaca animals of South America also yield wool. Some Indian breeds of sheep are Lohi, Rampur, Bushnell, Nali, Bakharwal, Marwari and Patanwadi. Then after we had seen the process to make fibers into wool, and that process involves 6 steps. We had seen that 6 steps, that is shearing, scoring, sorting, dyeing, drying and spinning. So now we will see the remaining part of this chapter. The next animal fiber, that is silk. So let's start with that. So silk fibers are also animal fibers. Silkworms spin the silk fibers. The rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called sericulture. Find out from your mother, aunt and grandmother the kind of silk sarees they have and list the kinds of silk. And before we discuss the process of obtaining silk, it is necessary to know the interesting life history of the silk moth. So first let we see the life history of silk moth. So the female silk moth lays eggs from which hatch larvae, which are also called as caterpillars or silkworms. They grow in size, and when the caterpillar is ready to enter the next step of its life history, that is known as pupa. It first weaves a net to hold itself, and then after it swings its head from side to side in the form of the figure of 8. And during these movements of the head, the caterpillar secretes fiber made up of protein, and this fiber protein is hardened on the exposure to air and becomes silk fiber. Here in the picture, the male and female silk moth is shown to you. Then after, eggs on the mulberry leaves is shown to you, and silkworm or caterpillar you can say, it is also shown to you. Then after, this figure shows the cocoon, and here cocoon with developing moth inside this cocoon. So the caterpillar secretes the fiber made up of protein and which harden on exposure to air, and it becomes silk fiber. Soon the caterpillar completely covers itself by silk fibers and turn into pupa. This covering is also known as cocoon. And further development of the pupa into moth continues inside the cocoon, as we had seen in the last figure. So silk fibers are used for weaving silk cloth, and can you imagine that this soft silk yarn is as strong as a comparable thread of steel. It is very strong. The silk yarn, or you can say thread, is obtained from the cocoon of the silk moth, and there is a variety of silk moth which looks very different from one another, and the silk yarn they yield in different in textures like coarse, smooth, shiny, etc. And thus there are different types of silks available in our country. The name are Tussar silk, Tussar silk, Muga silk, Kosa silk, etc. that are obtained from the cocoons spun by different types of moths. The most common silk moth is the mulberry silk moth. The silk fiber from the cocoon of this moth is soft, lustrous, that means bright and elastic, and can be dyed in beautiful colors. Sericulture or culture of silkworm is very old occupation in India, and India produces plenty of silk on a commercial scale. So for different types of silk, here one activity is given to you. 3.5 activity, collect pieces of silk cloth of various types and paste them in your scrapbook. You can find them in a tailor's shop among the heap of waste cut pieces. Then after, take help of your mother and identify the types of silk such as mulberry silk, tussar silk, eri silk, muga silk, etc. And compare the texture of the silk with that of the artificial silk pieces, which contains synthetic fibers. And try and collect pictures of different moths whose caterpillar provides the various type of silk. So after doing this activity, you will find that each silk cloth of various type have different characteristics. The next another activity is also given to you, activity 3.6. Take an artificial or synthetic silk thread and a pure silk thread. Burn these threads carefully. Do you notice any difference in the smell while burning? Now burn a woolen fiber carefully, and did it smell like burning of artificial silk or that of pure silk? Can you explain why? So after doing this activity, you will find that the smell of burning of thread of pure silk and wool is like the smell of burning of hair, while the burning of artificial silk thread, the smell is similar to the burning of plastic. Why this is? Because this artificial silk is made from chemical substance. Now, to remember when the cocoon stage is reached in the life history of the silk moth, try the activity following. So activity 3.7 is given to you. Photocopy the figure 3.9 and cut out pictures of the stages of the life history of the silk moth and paste them on pieces of cardboard or chart paper. Now jumble them and then try and arrange the stages in the correct sequence in a cyclic form. Whoever does it fastest wins. You may also describe the life history in your own words and write it down in your scrapbook. So as we had seen earlier, what is the life history of silk moth? So there are major 4 stages in the life history of silk moth. That stages are egg, larva, or you can say caterpillar or silkworm, then after pupa and silk moth. Let me see in the figure. These are the 4 stages. So first stage is egg. This is the stage of life history of silk moth. That is first one. And female silk moth lays egg on the leaves of mulberry leaves. So this shows the first stage. Then after next stage is larva. So incubated egg, these eggs hatch out larva and it is called caterpillar or silkworm, this one. And it stops eating after eating leaves of mulberry up to 25 to 30 days and become dormant, that means inactive. Then after third stage is pupa. Now caterpillar enters in the third stage of its life history of called pupa, and it first weaves a net to hold itself and that it swings its head from side to side in the form of the figure of 8. And during this movement of the head, the caterpillar secretes fiber made up of a protein which hardens on exposure to air and becomes silk fiber. Soon the caterpillar completely covers itself by silk fibers and turns into pupa, and this covering is known as the cocoon. This one. The last stage is silk moth. So the further development of the pupa into moth moth continues inside the cocoon, this one. And finally silk moth come out by breaking cocoon. So this is the life history of the silk moth. So now next is one fact is given to you. In India, women are significantly involved in various kind of industrial related to silk production. And these are rearing of silkworms, reeling of silk from cocoons and processing of raw silk into fabrics. And by their enterprise or by their work, they contribute to the nation's economy. China leads the world in silk production, and India also ranks amongst the leading silk producing countries. So now we will see how the rearing of silkworms occur at the sericulture. So from cocoon to silk. So for obtaining silk, moths are reared and their cocoons are collected to get silk threads. So rearing silkworms. The process is given to you. A female silk moth lays hundreds of eggs at a time. The eggs are stored carefully on the strips of cloth or paper and sold to silkworm farmers. Here in the figures, the female silkworm moth with eggs is shown to you. Then after, the farmers keep eggs under hygienic conditions and under suitable conditions of temperature and humidity. The eggs are warmed to a suitable temperature for the larva to hatch from eggs, and this is done when mulberry trees bear a fresh crop of leaves. Here in the figure, the mulberry trees is shown to you, and here the leaf of mulberry tree is shown to you. This one is the leaf of mulberry leaves. So now the larva called the caterpillar, or you can say also silkworm, eat dry and day and night and increase enormously in size. They eat leaves day and night and increase illimitably in the size. Here that is shown to you in figure 3.10c. Larva, that is you can say caterpillar and silkworm feeding on the mulberry leaves. Then after the leaves, the larvae are kept in clean bamboo trays along with freshly chopped mulberry leaves. We are giving the mulberry leaves to these larvae to feed on them, and after 25 to 30 days the caterpillars stop eating and move into a tiny chamber of bamboo in the tray to spin cocoons. The cocoons is shown to you here in this figure. It looks like a tablet of medicine here. So then after small racks or you can say twigs may be provided in the trays to which cocoons get attached, and the caterpillar or silkworm spins the cocoon inside which develops the silk moth. Now processing silk. So pile or mass amount of cocoon is used for obtaining silk fibers. The cocoons are kept under the sun or boiled or exposed to steam, and the silk fibers separate out, and the process of taking out threads from the cocoon for the use as the silk is called reeling the silk, and the reeling is done in special machines which unwind the threads or fibers of silk from the cocoon, and the silk fibers are then spun into silk threads and which are woven into silk cloth by the weavers. Now here Paheli has one question. She want to know if the cotton thread and silk thread are spun or woven in the same manner. So the basic process of spinning is different in silk and cotton. as the source of there is also different. That's why spinning process is different, but the woven process is same in the cotton and silk thread. Here one another fact is also given, that how the discovery of silk happened. So the exact time of discovery of silk is perhaps unknown. According to an old Chinese legend, the empress, that means the wife of a king, her name is Si Lung Ji, was asked by the emperor Huang Ti to find out the cause of the damaged leaves of mulberry trees growing in their garden. The empress found white worms eating up mulberry leaves. She also noticed that they were spinning shiny cocoons around them, and accidentally a cocoon dropped into her cup of tea. As the tea was hot, it entangled of delicate threads separated from the cocoon. Entangled, that means there is a disarray of silk threads separated from the cocoon. So silk industry began in China, this is how, and was kept a closing guarded secret for hundreds of years. Later on, traders, that means businessmen and travelers, introduced silk to the other countries, and the route they travel is still called the Silk Route. So this is how this discovery of silk made. So now let me see what we have learned from this chapter. So we had seen that silk comes from silkworms and wool is obtained from sheep, goat and yak, and hence silk and wool are animal fibers. The hairs of camel, llama and alpaca are also processed to yield wool. In India, mostly sheep are reared for getting wool. Then we had seen sheep hair is sheared off from the body and scalded, sorted, dried, dyed, spun and woven to yield wool. Then we had seen silkworms are caterpillars of silk moth. Then we had seen during their life cycles, the worms spin cocoons of silk fibers. Then we had seen silk fibers are made up of a protein. Silk fibers from cocoons are separated out and reeled into silk threads. And weavers weave silk thread into silk cloth. So here the explanation of our chapter 3, that is fiber to fabric, gets over. Now in the next video we will see the solution of this book and some extra exercise. Thank you.